Here to tell us more about H.O.O.V.E.S, please welcome Amanda Thompson.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to be here tonight. But before we get started, I just wanted to take a second and show a little video that gives you a peek inside of our workshops. And it was created by our media design artist, Matthew Nicolai, also graduate of the H.O.O.V.E.S program. So before I start, I just want to say that a good number of veterans in this video are actually here in the room tonight, and I'd like to give them a big round of applause. In the fall of 2003, on the plains of Utah, during a routine BLM roundup, 50 baby horses were corralled and sent to a rescue in Falcon, Colorado. A few days later, we're supposed to go back to the first slide. Sorry. Exit out. Sorry. Kill my mojo. Okay. So 50 baby Mustangs were rounded up and sent to a rescue in Falcon, Colorado. A few days later, a young woman paid a visit to the rescue. She didn't know exactly what she was looking for, but it had been recommended by a friend. She sat on the fence post and she watched all the baby horses. When she finally decided to go through the gate, they all ran and huddled in the corner, all except one horse. This horse seemed different. She was a very odd color with a little bit of brown and a little bit of gray, and she almost looked purple in the sunlight. And that young woman and that young horse just stared at each other for what seemed like hours. But it was really only minutes. When that woman turned to walk back into the barn, that baby horse followed her. And on that day, both of their lives were changed forever. The following day, the horse was delivered to the stables and they got straight to work. Learning the language of a horse was something this woman had always wanted to do. But what she noticed as the days and weeks went by is that her life started to change. Things just seemed different. What she thought happened was as she gained control over the horse, she was gaining control over her life. But what really happened was quite the opposite. This horse gave that woman the confidence to take control, get her life back, and eventually move on to serve other people. That woman was me. Next slide. My name's Amanda Thompson, and I'm the founder of the H.O.O.V.E.S program. The mission of H.O.O.V.E.S is to partner with horses during transformational workshops to help our veterans return to the life they fought to protect. What's prepared me for this mission is 16 years of military service, a certification in overview stress coaching, a certification in equine-assisted psychotherapy, and my own personal journey to overcome depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Next slide. So how did a horse do all of this for me? Well, horses are a lot like us socially. They're actually non-predatory pack animals, and they have a hierarchy, and they have a huge skill to communicate non-verbally. So what happens is they actually can read the body language that's attached to our subconscious and mirror back to us anything that we project. Next slide. The first step to healing, in my opinion, is becoming vulnerable. That's what you can see happen in this picture right here. In order to have a connection, you have to be vulnerable, and horses have the most amazing way of giving us a safe space to do that. Next slide. Here in a workshop, participants get the opportunity to create their real-life obstacles out of objects that we provide for them in the arena. Then they take the horses through the obstacles, and the horses will show them exactly where they are stuck. The participant then has the opportunity to make different changes. The horse will read those subconscious vibes and show them if it's going to be effective or ineffective. And then we get to come up with a metaphor-based plan on how they can actually apply this in their real life. That allows us to eventually reach our final goal of seeking peace and then finding joy. To elaborate on this concept is Mike's story. Mike was a member of the Lima Marine Detachment. He was asked to stay back on a deployment due to becoming a single father. During that deployment, over a 2-week span, in 6 different attacks, every single fellow Marine was killed in action. Talk about survivor's guilt. Well, Mike showed up in my arena on the 10th anniversary of the first attack. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little overwhelmed on what I was even going to do with him that day. But I had an idea to create a pathway down the arena. And if you can imagine 12 boxes created out of landscaping timbers, and in every other box was a big blue barrel. Each barrel represented an attack. I had 3 horses loose in the arena, and what I asked Mike to do was just simply take a horse through the alleyway. He immediately went over to his favorite horse, Ellie, who happens to be everyone's favorite horse. But in that time, our big Clydesdale, Killian, decided that she was going to walk over and put herself right in front of his alleyway. He dropped the rope off of Ellie's neck, walked over to Killian, wrapped it around, and one of the biggest tug-of-war battles I have ever seen started. As you well know, horse person or not, there's little you can do when a 2,500-pound animal doesn't want to move its feet. The struggle continued. After about 10 minutes of bracing on each other, he dropped the rope, looked her in the eye, and said, "What do you want me to do?" Killian reached down and with her nose nudged the barrel. With a look of knowing in his eye, together they pushed that barrel out of the alleyway, and she immediately stepped into the acceptance box. And together they walked down that entire path, and together they pushed out every single barrel, each one creating more space for healing. When he got to the end of the alleyway, he wrapped his arms around her massive neck and just began to sob. And even I couldn't keep a dry eye. When we all finally got it together and he came over, I just asked him what happened. He said that in order for him to find true healing, that he had to stop making his brother's death an obstacle and live a life that would honor them. Next slide. So this is how the program works. We hold monthly 8-hour transformational workshops. The workshops consist of 6 exercises, each one builds on the next, and each one targets a different area of growth. What makes these exercises so effective is just like military training, they're action-oriented and not talk-oriented. They also get an opportunity to focus on nonverbal communication because 80% of our learning is actually done nonverbally. Again, with the connection, when you're present in the moment, that's when you can really find your true healing. Horses don't live in the past and they don't live in the future. They only live in the moment. Next slide. But I don't want you guys to just take my word on this. So here's a few testimonials from some veterans who have been through the program. When I went to a session, I could not have been more terrified. I lived in constant fear. But that day, I made a breakthrough. Sam Howard, Petty Officer, 2nd Class, U.S. Navy. I felt an instant connection with the horses. I felt for the first time that I belonged to something bigger than myself. I was almost spiritual in sense. The feeling of accomplishment I got is indescribable. I hadn't had a full night's sleep without at least one nightmare in 3 years until I started this program. Dave Ferguson, Army Infantry. Next slide. What's really cool about the program is not only do we work with veterans, but we're also taking preventative measures for our active duty military. We've done several sessions with the 180th Fighter Wing on pre-deployment leadership and teamwork, and we're also getting ready to do in 2017 a reintegration workshop for the 122nd Fighter Wing out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. This testimonial is from the wing commander of the 180th Fighter Wing. He brought his leadership staff out and they did an 8-hour team building. We had 6 of our leaders work together and it was fantastic. This training made us bond closer together, learn each other's personalities, and made us communicate in a way we haven't communicated before. Since the training, our team is now stronger, we communicate better, and we've become a stronger organization because of it. This training has also made me a better father, leader, and friend. Next slide. So 2016 was a really exciting year for us. We were able to triple our donations, expand our workshops, and help 32 veterans, both active duty and past military. We also participated in a bunch of parades, and the Swanton American Legion Post held an awesome Battle of the Bands hog roast event for us in July, and that was a huge success. Our biggest success this year is a front page article in Ohio's largest newspaper, the Toledo Blade. And I think that's why some people are here today. Actually, that's why I'm here today. So 2017 is on to bigger and better. I know that this year is going to be equally as great, if not better than last year. We'd like to expand our workshops to 20 workshops. We also want to start integrating the family in a Part 3 workshop, and in October, we're holding a 3-day retreat. We're looking for expanded outreach, more barns to do our work out of, and strategic partnerships with businesses and veterans organizations in Toledo. Next slide. Right here is just a list of people who supported us in 2016. This list is ever growing. It's actually grown since I made this presentation. But we thank all of our sponsors and everyone who supported us and believed in us along the way, because their support is why I'm standing here right now. Next slide. Most importantly, if you know a veteran who you think could benefit from this program, please give them our contact information. This program is always free for veterans. There's no referrals necessary. We don't need any documentation. And all they have to do to sign up is go to our website, click register for an event, and they can register through Eventbrite and show up. It's as simple as that. Next slide. So if I've done my job tonight, the next question you all have is, how can I support you? I understand that everybody has a different ability and capacity to support. So I've created an option for everyone. If you feel compelled to sponsor a veteran for the program, the cost is $150. If you'd like to sponsor an entire workshop, the cost would be $1,500. Now I understand that that's a lot of money for some people, so we also have an opportunity to support the program for just $10 a month, the cost of lunch at Panera, and you can sign up securely through PayPal. Next slide. If you're more passionate about animals, our H.O.O.V.E.S team also needs your support, and $300 a month is the cost of care for one horse. And we also take hay donations and any extra horse supplies that you have. Next slide. Also, if you'd like to volunteer, that's really simple too. You'll just go to our website, click the volunteer tab, and fill out our contact form. Somebody will contact you shortly. We do have a lot of fundraisers coming up this year, and we can always use extra hands on deck for those fundraisers. Next slide. On the surface, what we do is simple. We rescue horses and we rescue veterans. But the truth is, it's so much more than that. We give our servicemen and women the opportunity to heal, regain control, and return to the life they fought to protect. And tonight I'd like to invite you to support us on that mission.